Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the topic skewness and kurtosis. First of all, look into the introduction of this topic. Up till now we have studied average and dispersion. These are called as the aspects in the study of frequency distribution. But whenever we have to compare two frequency distribution, average and dispersion are not adequate. Two frequency distribution may have the same average and same dispersion, but it may not have the same symmetry. However, they differ in a symmetry. So symmetry is the third aspect in the study of frequency distribution. The term skewness is the opposite of symmetry. That is lack of symmetry. In our lecture, we are going to see various measures of the skewness. Symmetry. First we will see what we mean by the symmetry. Look into the graph of unimodal bell-shaped curve. The frequency distribution is said to be symmetric about a value A if the corresponding frequency curve is symmetric about that point A. Hence, for the unimodal bell-shaped curve, the two parts are mirror images of the two parts of the. Hence, for the unimodal bell-shaped frequency curve, the two parts are mirror images. The two parts of frequency distribution are the mirror images of each other. Then what are the properties of symmetric distribution? For the symmetric distribution, the point A is turned out to be the point of arithmetic mean, mode as well as median. Hence, for symmetric distribution, mean, mode and median coincides. Then the second property for the symmetric distribution is the quartiles of the symmetric distribution are equispaced. That is, the difference between the third quartile and the second quartile is equal to the difference between the second quartile and the first quartile. Then the third property for the symmetric distribution is that odd order central moment of symmetric distribution are 0. Hence, mu1 is equal to mu3 is equal to mu5. All are equal to 0. Now, let us study the term skewness. Skewness measures the extent of departure from symmetry. Skewness is defined as the lack of symmetry or departure from the symmetry. If the distribution is skewed, the corresponding frequency curve is elongated on the either side. So look into the figure. The middle one shows the symmetric curve distribution, whereas the left and right curve shows the elongated curve. If the curve is elongated towards the right side, we say that it is the positively skewed. The distribution is positively skewed. And if the curve is elongated towards the left side, we say that it is the negatively skewed distribution. For negatively skewed distribution, the skewness is coming out to be the negative value or it is less than 0. For symmetric distribution, the skewness is equal to 0. And for positively skewed distribution, the measure is greater than 0 and hence positive. So relation between the skewness and measure of central tendency. For the positively skewed distribution, mode is less than or equal to median is less than or equal to mean. Whereas for negatively skewed distribution, mean is less than or equal to median is less than or equal to mode. Whereas for symmetric distribution, all these three values are coincide. Now we are going to see the first measure of skewness, that is Karl-Pearson's coefficient of skewness. We know that mode is the very sensitive average. It departs from the symmetry. We know that mode is the more sensitive average to the departure from symmetry. Larger the skewness, larger is the difference between arithmetic mean and mode. Hence, for positively skewed data, arithmetic mean, the difference for the positively skewed data, difference between the arithmetic mean and mode is positive. And for the negatively skewed data, difference between the arithmetic mean and mode is negative. On the basis of this, we are going to define the Karl-Pearson's coefficient of skewness as, we are going to denote it by SK, S suffix K, which is equal to arithmetic mean minus mode divided by standard deviation. If SK is less than 0, we say that the distribution is negatively skewed. If SK is equal to 0, the distribution is symmetric, and if SK is greater than 0, we say that the distribution is positively skewed. The Karl-Pearson's coefficient of skewness is independent of change and origin. Hence, if we add some constant or subtract some constant or multiply or divide by any constant, it will not affect the Karl-Pearson coefficient. It cannot be computed for the distribution which are having the open-end classes. This is one drawback with the Karl-Pearson coefficient of skewness, as we cannot compute the arithmetic mean for the distribution having open-end classes. We cannot compute the Karl-Pearson coefficient also. Majority of the times, Karl-Pearson coefficient lies between -1 and 1, and rarely it goes beyond the -3 and 3. Majority of the times it will lie between -1 and 1 only. Mode is ill-defined. Sometimes it is not easy to find out the mode. Hence, in that case, we use the empirical relation, that is arithmetic mean minus mode is equal to thrice 3 times arithmetic mean minus median. And hence, our Karl-Pearson coefficient of skewness changes to the SK is equals to arithmetic mean minus median divided by sigma. 3 times arithmetic mean minus median. Mode is ill-defined. Sometimes mode is ill-defined, it cannot be computed, and hence it is difficult in computing the Karl-Pearson's coefficient of skewness. In such a case, we are going to use the empirical relation arithmetic mean minus mode is equal to 3 times arithmetic mean minus median. In that case, our Karl-Pearson coefficient of skewness reduces to 3 times arithmetic mean minus median divided by sigma. Karl-Pearson's coefficient of skewness is a unitless quantity, as it is a ratio and it is a pure number. It is unitless quantity which is a pure number. Now the next coefficient is the Bowles's coefficient of skewness. Bowles's coefficient of skewness is based on the quartiles. So in case of the qualitative data and the frequency distribution with open-end classes, we cannot find out the arithmetic mean and standard deviation. So to overcome this drawback, we are going to study another measure of skewness, that is Bowles's coefficient of skewness. It is based on the quartiles. For the symmetric distribution, first and third quartiles are equidistant from the median. This is the property of symmetric distribution that we have studied. Hence, for the positively skewed distribution, the difference between the third and second quartile should be greater than the difference between second and first quartile. Whereas for negatively skewed distribution, the difference between the third and second quartile should be less than the difference between second and the first quartile. This property we are going to use in the for defining the Pauli's coefficient of skewness. So the relative measure based on the quartiles Q3 minus Q2 minus Q2 minus Q1 is called as the Pauli's coefficient of skewness, and it is given by SB is equal to Q3 minus twice Q2 plus Q1 whole divided by Q3 minus Q1. Hence, if the we are going to denote the Pauli's coefficient by SB. If SB is less than 0, we are going to say the distribution is negatively skewed. If SB is equal to 0, distribution will be symmetric, and if SB is greater than 0, the distribution will be positively skewed. Pauli's coefficient of skewness lie between -1 and 1. Now the third measure of skewness, which is based on moment, is called as the Pearsonian coefficient of skewness. The third property of symmetric distribution is that all odd order central moment of symmetric distribution are 0. We are going to define the Pearsonian coefficient on the basis of this property of symmetric distribution. So the odd order movements are positive for the positively skewed distribution, and odd order central movements are negative for the negatively skewed distribution. Except the first central movement, can you tell me why? Yes, first central movement is always 0. Hence, except the first central moment, if the central moment is positive, it is the distribution. If odd order movement are positive, then it is positively skewed. If odd order central moment are negative, it is negatively skewed distribution. The relative measure of skewness, we are denoting it by the gamma 1. It is equal to positive square root of beta 1, where beta 1 is nothing but third moments are square, mu3 square divided by mu2 cube. Beta 1 is always positive because it is a mu3 square, and mu2 is nothing but the variance. Variance is always positive, and in numerator it is square quantity. So beta 1 is always always positive. So it helps to exhibit the type of skewness, and hence we are taking the square root of beta 1. Now how to decide that whether it is greater than 0 or less than 0? As denominator, look into the beta 1's expression. It is mu3 square upon mu2 cube. Now the denominator will always be greater than 0. It is a variance mu2. Thus, the gamma 1 will possess the sign of mu3. If mu3 is less than 0, then the gamma 1 will have the negative sign, and if mu3 is greater than 0, gamma 1 will have positive sign. Clear up till this? Then Pearsonian coefficient of skewness is also invariant to the change of origin as well as scale. Hence, if we add, subtract, multiply or divide by any constant, it will not going to affect the value of Pearsonian coefficient. While comparing the frequency distribution, one has to compare its magnitude of skewness. Hence, if we are comparing any two distribution, we have to compare the magnitude of its skewness. Among all the three coefficients, that is Karl-Pearson's coefficient, Pauli's coefficient and Pearsonian coefficient, the last one, the Pearsonian coefficient, is said to be the best measure. But if we have the classes which are having the open end class, in that case the Bowley's coefficient will be the better choice. And if we have the the Karl Pearson coefficient is easy to compute. Hence we are using all the three coefficient of skewness based on the choices or based on our needs. This diagram will summarize all the three coefficient of skewness. So example, suppose we have the following observations 12, 13, 54, 56, 25. Determine the skewness of the data. The 5 observations are given and we have to find out the skewness. So we are going to use Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness formula. It is easy to compute. So first of all, let us find out arithmetic mean, median and standard deviation. So arithmetic mean is nothing but sum of the 5 observation divided by total number of observation. So it is equal to 32. Median, for finding out the median, we have to first arrange the data in increasing order or decreasing order. And here it is, here odd observations are there. So median will be the middlemost observation. So the third observation is the median, 25. Then to find a standard deviation, first of all find out the variance. Variance is nothing but summation of xi minus x bar square divided by total number of observation. It is coming out to be 467.5. And standard deviation is nothing but positive square root of variance. It is equal to 21.62. Now we can work out the skewness. Skewness is equal to 3 times arithmetic mean minus median divided by standard deviation. So it is coming out to be 0.9713. Sk is greater than 0. It is positive quantity. Hence we can say that the data, the observations are positively skewed distribution. Data has positively skewed distribution. This is all about the skewness. Now the next part is of kurtosis. What we mean by the kurtosis? Kurtosis measures the relative height of the curve. For the bell-shaped curve, up till now we have studied the three aspects of the frequency distribution, which are average, dispersion and symmetry. Now kurtosis is the fourth aspect. For the above, if the above three aspects, if these three aspects are not enough for the comparison of two frequency distribution, we are going to use the kurtosis for the comparison purpose. Hence, kurtosis is the fourth aspect of the frequency distribution. For this, kurtosis is the fourth aspect in the study of frequency distribution. Two bell-shaped unimodal frequency distribution may have same average, same dispersion and same amount of skewness, but still it may differ in the fourth aspect, which is the relative height of the frequency curve. And this relative height is termed as the kurtosis. Clark and Schade define the kurtosis as the property of distribution which expresses its relative peakness, relative height, relative peakness. So look into the following graph. If it is a regular, our bell shaped curve is there with a normal height, then it is a, we termed it as a mesocurtic curve. If the height is relatively larger than the normal height, we termed it as a leptocurtic curve. And if the height of the curve is less than the normal curve, we termed it as the platycurtic. So these are the general form of kurtosis. According to the Carl Pearson, kurtosis is nothing but the convexity of the curve, how much the curve is convex in nature. Proportion of the observation around a mode, if the more observations are around the modal value. Mode is nothing but the peakness. It shows the peak curve. Modal value is a value which is having the maximum frequency. For the discrete distribution, we say that the mode is the value which is having the maximum frequency. So the proportion of observation around the mode is more, then the curve will have the sharper peak. Hence it is a leptocurtic, sharp peak. And if the lower concentration around the mode, then the curve will have the blunt peak, or peak having a small height, and we are going to term it as a platocurtic. Now the measure of kurtosis, Pearsonian coefficient, they are denoted by beta 2 and gamma 2, where beta 2 is the fourth central moment mu 4 divided by mu 2 square, and gamma 2 is defined as beta 2 minus 3. So what are the interpretation? If beta 2 is less than 3, or that is, if beta 2 is less than 3, that is gamma 2 is less than 0, then the distribution is platycurtic. If beta 2 is equal to 3, that is gamma 2 is equal to 0, then the distribution is mesocurtic. If beta 2 is greater than 3, that is gamma 2 is greater than 0, then the distribution is leptocurtic. This is the measure which is based on the moments, and this is given by the we called it as a Pearsonian coefficient. There are also measured which are based on the quartiles, and it is denoted by K suffix U, which is equal to third quartile minus first quartile divided by 2, and whole divided by 90th percentile minus 10th percentile. And for normal distribution, the Ku is equal to 0.263. So if the value of Ku is coming out to be less than 0.263, the distribution is platycurtic. And if for any distribution the value come out to be greater than 0.263, then that distribution is said to be the leptocurtic distribution. Now the example, using the data from the example, the same example we are taking 12, 13, 54, 56 and 25. Determine the type of kurtosis present, whether it is mesocurtic, platycurtic or leptocurtic. So arithmetic mean and variance is there. From that we are calculating the second moment and third moment. After calculating it, mu 4 divided by mu 2 square, hence, and it minus 3, mu 4 square upon mu, it is coming out to be 0.7861. Gamma 2 is coming out to be the positive quantity, hence the correct answer is B. It is a platycurtic distribution. Thank you.